Good afternoon, boys and girls. I am excited to get back to social studies. We took a break for a little bit because we needed to catch up in math. And then we took a second to rearrange our schedule, so now we're going to be doing math and social studies. We are going to start talking about communities and looking at maps for the next little bit. And there are some few big key concepts that we're going to be looking at when we talk about communities. And the biggest one is that a community is a place where people live, work, and play together. So thinking about a community is a place where people live, work, and play together. Where do you think a community is around you? It could be Brooklyn. It could be Jackson. Sometimes we say that our school is a community too, like a smaller one, but really a community is where we live. So like Brooklyn or Jackson is a community, but we can also create a community in our school or in our classroom. Maybe you have a daycare that you go to that might be a community as well. Communities help keep people safe, and they also help people meet their basic needs. So food, water, shelter, air is basic need, making sure that it's safe. So today, first I want to start out by reading a book from Epic called Places in My Community. Let's figure out how to turn the page. Here we go. Places in My Community. What is a community? A community is a place where many people live and work together. A community has many buildings. It also has outdoor places like parks. What are some places in your community? So think about where you live. Some of us live in Brooklyn. Some of us live in Cement City, Onstead, Jackson. What are some of the places in your community? Take a second to think. All right. I live in Napoleon. So some of the buildings that I see when I drive through my community are lots of houses, but there is a gas station, there's a park, there's a restaurant, and then there's some businesses too. There's also a post office, a fire/police station, and there's an airport in Napoleon too. So that's just in my community. Your community might be different. A community neighborhood is where people live. Communities also have playgrounds, schools, stores, and fire stations. Napoleon has all of those things except for a store, unless you consider the lawnmower place a store. Or, I guess, Vicks, too. Some people go to Vicks. Oh, I forgot about Dollar General. There is a Dollar General. We do have a store. Places to live. Homes are buildings. There are many kinds of homes. Some homes have 1 or 2 floors. Other homes are in tall apartment buildings. Each building has many apartment homes. For my family, we used to live in an apartment, and it had 3 floors. So there was an apartment below us, our apartment, and then an apartment above us. And then across the hall, there was the same thing. So we used to live in an apartment, but now we live in a house. Our house that we live in right now has 3 floors. It has a basement, a main floor, and an upstairs. But the house that I grew up in only had a main floor, and then we added a basement to it. So I've lived in all sorts of different homes. How many floors does your home have, or what kind of home do you live in? My parents, where I grew up, their home is considered a trailer. Right now I live in a house. It's an actual house. But I've also lived in an apartment too. Places to work. People in a community work to earn money. They earn money to pay for food, clothing, and other things they need. People do many kinds of jobs. Some people work outdoors. Some people work in factories. These workers are making cars. What are some of the places to work in your community? For me, in my community, you could work at any of the stores. So there's the Dollar General. There's a couple of restaurants, so you could be a waiter, a server, or a cook, or a hostess. There's a gas station, so you could work at the gas station. There's the school, so you could be, my goodness, the school has so many different jobs that you could be. There's the post office, there's the fire station, there's the police station. There's the airport, which also has the diving school. Wouldn't it be fun for your job to go skydiving every day? I want that job. Maybe not really, but I think that it does sound like fun and terrifying all at the same time. What are some of the different places that you have to work in your community? Or what do your parents do? That might be different than the things that the book didn't really name that many other than the cars. But maybe your parents do something that I didn't list, and that's okay too. Places to learn. Communities have schools for learning. Young children go to elementary school. Other students go to a high school or college. What kind of school do you go to? I hope you all know that you're in elementary school. School is a place to learn and have fun. You can do art and music at school. You can play sports too. Do you like to do art or music or play sports? I like all of them. Not necessarily good at any of them, but I like all of them. Places to buy food. People need food to stay alive. Most people buy food at a supermarket. You can buy any kind of food there. You can also buy food in restaurants. Many people grow vegetable gardens. Do you have a vegetable garden? I do not, but do you? Places to shop. People need other things such as clothes, books, toys, and computers. You can find many of these things in shopping malls. Shopping malls have different kinds of stores. This girl bought a lot of things at the mall. Over spring break, we didn't go anywhere except for one day. We did go to a new mall that we've never been to, and it was a 3-story mall, and it looked kind of like this in the center. It was amazing. We didn't really buy anything. We just walked around and looked at all the different stores that Jackson Mall does not have, or Ann Arbor Mall either. So that was fun. Community safety. Communities need to be safe. Police officers help keep communities safe. People call the police station when they need help. Firefighters put out fires. They wait at a fire station until someone reports a fire. Then they drive to the fire in fire trucks that have loud sirens. This weekend, there were 2 fire trucks that went down our little private drive next to our house. I have no idea what happened. Hopefully everyone's okay, but that was our excitement with firefighters. Places to get well. Communities help people stay healthy. People go to a doctor's office when they are sick or to get checkups. They go to the hospital when they are hurt or very sick. There are animal hospitals too. Doctors called veterinarians or vets look after animals that are sick or hurt. Long ago. Do you like to draw and paint? Art galleries show pictures that people have painted. Some of the paintings show how children lived long ago. Museums show how people and animals live now and long ago. This museum has dinosaur bones. Dinosaurs lived a very long time ago. Have you ever been to an art museum or an art gallery or any sort of museum? Or even the zoos sometimes have little areas that are more like museums. Those are a fun way to learn. Fun places outdoors. Communities have many fun places. There are parks, playgrounds, sports, fields, and swimming pools. Where do you have fun in your community? Where do you like to go to hang out and have fun? And that is the end. So what were some of the places that people lived in the book. What am I trying to say? I don't even know. What were some examples from the book of places that people lived? People did live in the community, but where else did they give an example of? They gave an example of an apartment building, right? Where or what example did the book give of where people work? They showed people building cars in the book, right? I don't know how many of our people work in building cars or selling cars, but in Detroit there is a lot, and I'm sure that there's other ones too. There is a lot of people who work there that build cars or go in, do some part of building cars. And actually just thinking about, I learned that at TAC, I think. No, not TAC, Mackey. I don't know, I always get the two confused. There's a factory in Jackson that has something to do with computer chips that are for cars. So maybe your adult that you know might not put the actual car together, but maybe they work on something that goes into building the car. And those places are all over. And we do have some of those here in Jackson. What were some examples of people playing together? They went to the park, right? There was swimming. There were people swimming. There was the park they were climbing on. And then for keeping us safe, what did they show us? They showed the firemen and the police officers. And meeting our basic needs, they talked about how we have to have stores, right? We have malls typically for our clothing and supermarkets for our food. And then one of our basic needs is just being outside and getting air too. And then the community helps keep us safe so that way we are able to go outside. But also outside in our houses, they said that some people grow vegetable gardens. And this isn't one of them, but flowers too. I don't know why we can't grow flower gardens. I'm not very good at it, but I like my flowers. I don't know what any of them are, and I'm trying not to kill them, but they're coming back, so I think I did okay. What I'm doing right now is cutting apart the heading of why do people live in communities, and I'm putting it in our notebook that probably has dust and cobwebs and spider webs, if you even know where it is, because we haven't used it in forever. This part, though, I'm only cutting on the line, but stopping when I get to this part. I'm going to put glue on the back side of this straight area, so that way it makes a flap. Okay? So I am almost out of time. I'm going to finish cutting this flap. I'm going to glue it down just like this so I can still lift all three of these pieces up. And then when we come back, after you get your paper cut out, glued down, click the next video and we're going to jot some notes down underneath each flap, and then you'll be done.